Hello, everyone, and welcome to Out of Nowhere. My guest today is Sacha Christie. She's been a paranormal investigator, researcher since 1991. In 1997, she was part of a group of people who witnessed two UFOs in Wales. Can we please welcome Sacha to the show? Hello
Hi,
there.
hi, gang.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Plodding along, having a nice quiet life at the moment. Bit too
Yeah,
quiet maybe now, but I needed it.
I think you did as well. Can you describe the events of that day or evening from the beginning in Wales?
Yeah, of course I can. So I was with a guy, Steve, and we'd seen each other, I don't know, maybe a couple of years. We used to go to Wales, usually on the motorbike, but this time his uncle had booked it, and his sister, her son, I took my son and Steve. So there was like 3 adults, 2 children. And we were in Glenkinniog, which is a little town. Well, it's not that, yeah, fairly little town in Wales, North Wales. Not far from Wrexham. It's probably about, I don't know, 16, 17 miles from Wrexham.
Right.
And we got there on the Friday, and this happened on the Saturday. So on the Friday, we just mooching about. We had a nice night, and then the next night, I was upstairs. I was going to get a bath, and I was like in the bedroom getting stuff out of my bag, and Steve shouted me from downstairs, and it sounded urgent, so I like ran downstairs. And because the 2 lads were about the same age, maybe a year difference, and they were like whooping and hollering, and I didn't know when I heard the urgency in his voice, I thought it was to do with them. So I kind of ran downstairs, and he's like half in, half out of the kitchen, telling me to come outside. So we went out, and he's going, "Look, I can see some lights over there." And I was looking, and all it was just miles and miles and miles of black with clouds. It had been raining, so it was just thick cloud and all bumpy, like it is. And eventually I had to, he was pointing, and sort of like put my head on his arm to look down his finger because I just couldn't see what he was seeing. And eventually I saw it, and I said to him, "It's lightning." And he said, "It's not, watch it." So I kept, because I knew where I was looking, it kept coming on and going off, but like in a real uniform pattern. So I was like, "Oh yeah, that's weird. What is that?" It did look like lightning because it was really bright, and like that's all I can describe it as.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, we were watching it, and it got a little bit bigger and brighter, and I think Steve went in it. I think he phoned someone, then he got everyone else outside, so we were all out and we were watching this thing, and it was getting bigger. And then it dawned on me that it wasn't getting bigger, it was getting closer.
Oh.
So from all that way away, where it was just like a tiny little thing so far away, it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was zigzagging. So it didn't come in a straight line at all, it zigzagged. Now there's valleys all over the place. I don't know if it was following a valley or if it just had a joystick and it could only move like that.
Yeah.
I know I'm joking, but I've said this about 8 million times, so for my own amusement. So anyway, it was zigzagged towards us, and then it was kind of like over the field in front of the house, and we were all out by then, and my son stood next to me. There's Danya's over there. Steve's behind me, but sort of just to my right, but not properly behind me, but like I couldn't see him.
Yeah.
And so I turned to look, and this thing was just like, it was actually massive as it came towards us. When it finally was, like closer, Steve reckons it's about a mile long. I wouldn't know how to gauge that, but it was big. You had to look like from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock if you wanted to see both sides.
Yeah,
you couldn't see them at the same time. It was just, when it got that close anyway. So, and it was like a big central brightness, but it was like rippling. So the light was rippling through the clouds, and because of the different densities, it sort of looked like a little, like it had tentacles, like jellyfish, but it wasn't. That was just the clouds. And then it finally came to be like over the top of us, and what we could see was like this thing coming out of the cloud, and it had a big central circle of light and loads of like lines of light, and they were rotating one way, and then a very thin like impression of a light going the other way. And that was probably about 60 feet across. So the light itself would have been about 30 feet across, yeah. And then the rest of it with the stripes, another, you know. So my son's next to me. I'm looking up at that. Then out of the corner of my eye, see this really bright orange strobe, and it was like brrr, bouncing off the side of the house, which is where I looked, and that's where I saw Steve was. And it like literally whatever the light was hit him in the face. So I turned around and looked behind me, and there was a sphere on the ground. Now I remember it being a fair distance away, but we went back in can't remember. We went back to film that documentary. Can't remember what year it was now. Anyway, it was so close. I can't even get my head around how close it was. And I don't even know how it got there, because it was like underneath some trees and it was completely silent. There was nothing, and Steve's there. How did he not even, we don't know. We just don't even know. Like how did he not see it? Was it there before we went out? What, what? Or was it there? Did it come when we were looking this way or what? I have no idea, but it was completely silent. And it had all like mist coming off it. It wasn't swirling or anything. It was like something hot in somewhere, cold and wet. So it was like coming off it. Yeah, and it was like glowing every other second, like slowly on and off, pulsing light. But it was like grey white. And I said, "Oh, look, another one." And everyone looked at it and went, "Oh yeah," and then just straight back to looking up, like it wasn't even there. Then my son, he's tugging on my clothes and said, Mummy, a hand just come through the hedge and touched my foot. And he was like, it wasn't my imagination. I saw it with my eyes. And later on, not at the time when we were there, he said they were like, it was like sticks, like long fingers.
All right.
But he described them as, because he was only like 6, so he described them as looking like sticks. So, I could see he was terrified. And all the time, the kids were scared, and we were just like, whoa, not even like twigging that this is not normal, this is dangerous. Why are you just stood here? You know what I mean? Like, bizarre, because it was so close and in your face. Why weren't we scared? I don't understand why we weren't scared. I don't know why we took it in our stride like we did.
How many was there of you then?
There was 4 adults. Yeah, there was John, Danya, me and Steve. So there's 4 adults, 2 kids. I said 3 adults earlier, but I was wrong. There's 4 adults, 2 kids. So anyway, by that point, Steve had come up behind me, and I said to him, "Look, the kids are getting scared." And he said, "Come on, let's get them inside." John had lost it. But he was saying like, "Oh, it's the Aurora Borealis" at one point. And I was like, "Through cloud in Wales? Don't think so." Yeah. But you can see it in Wales. I was wrong. Anyway. He was like hacking at a door frame. He was in a woodshed, but he had Joseph, the other little lad. And he was like, this is how we chop wood, Joseph. It was like, why, like afterwards we're thinking, why was he chopping the door frame? There was like wood everywhere. He could have been chopping wood, Yeah. But he was obviously freaking out.
Sounds like
by that point, you know what I mean? So so we went back in the house, and John and Danya just went straight into the living room and sat down and started watching TV. The kids went back to the bottom of the stairs where they'd been playing before. And Steve walked up to the sink and picked up a dishcloth and started doing the dishes. And I just looked at everybody. And I went, F this, I'm back outside. Nobody was like, "Are you an idiot?" I just went out and I walked up the path. I seen the sphere again. I sort of shook my head, laughed. Not like, ha ha ha, this is hilarious. Like it was like incredulous. And then I went and stood underneath it, and I was looking right up. I mean, literally, like I can't even get my head that far back anymore. Anyway, so I was looking directly up at it, and knowing me, I had my hands on my hips because I always do. And I was like thinking, like, what the hell? You know, just trying to process it. And as I was stood there thinking that, I heard like really fast little feet coming up behind me. And that was when I had this boom of adrenaline. My chest felt like it exploded. I could have been hit by a truck, you know what I mean? It was that impacting. I can't tell you, physical feeling of a boom in my chest. And because whatever it was, it got that close to me that it actually brushed past me, and my clothes sort of like went with it.
Oh God!
And then I was running, but I couldn't see anything. I'd gone completely blind. Everything was black. And I got like a flash of stairs and then a flash of the patio, and I was fit. I felt like I was running so slowly, but you know, like it's weird when adrenaline, when you're running for your life, you don't feel like you're going fast enough.
No, you don't.
And but everything felt so heavy. I wanted to go. I wanted to be light. I wanted to run. This is one of the things that I remember the most about it, is because it was just so shocking to me. Like when you can't imagine what it's like running for your life. You don't make a decision to run, because I thought run, but I'd already been running for about 4 seconds before my brain caught on. Do you know what I mean? So I remember leaping and trying to leap from the steps right across this patio thing to the door, and I didn't make it. And there was another one. So it was like my vision was like flash, 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 and then I was in the kitchen, and I went bursting into the kitchen. But then I saw the kids, so I just stopped dead. And Steve just turned to look at me, and I just went, something just ran up behind me and touched me back, you know. And he looked at the clock and he went, well, you haven't been out there long, so you haven't had any missing time. Like, that's normal. At that point, boom, everything in me just snaps. I was like, don't give a shit, shut the curtains, get the doors, you know, like literally barricading. Yeah. And I was literally so terrified that I wouldn't let go of his T-shirt. I was literally like, what if he walked anywhere? I had hold of his T-shirt and I was following him everywhere. And he did the loo. I made him come into the toilet and stand right next to me while I was on the loo. You know, I was absolutely gone. Somehow we got the kids to bed. I don't know how or even why. Because rational me would not have put the kids in the bedroom and not been with them when this is going on. You know? And then the next thing you know, we're all in bed, going to sleep.
How strange is that? So did time, you say you don't think you had any missing time then?
Well, Steve said that, but when we've talked, we were like, but it started at 7. It seemed to go on for like, I don't know, an hour. But then it was like really late. So I don't know. He thinks we have had missing time. But after it all happened, but I don't know. I mean,
you know, when you think about it, Sacha, how come they just carried on as normal and you didn't?
I don't know. And everyone was mad with me the next day. Like Daniel was shouting at me, John was being weird with me, and I'm like, what? I haven't done anything, you know? We had to separate and go and do different activities. Me and Steve went for a walk. We went looking everywhere. Like, is there a disco nearby? Is it like laser? We knew it wasn't. Because how could it be right over the top of us and stationary? It's just ridiculous. But we were just blown away, trying to rationalise something that was completely irrational, basically.
Did you ask the kids again about their experiences then?
I've not spoken to Joseph because he was only like 4 or 5 at the time. But obviously my son Louis, he remembers quite a bit. He remembers lights, he remembers hands, he remembers being scared, but he doesn't really remember a lot, you know. But and then we all lost touch. Me and Steve split up. We didn't see each other for years. I didn't even know where they were. I tried to find them. They'd moved to Spain, so I couldn't find them because they weren't in the country. And eventually I found them on Facebook, and then we started talking. And then I was hoping that they were going to say, oh no, it wasn't that bad, you know, wasn't that big, it wasn't that insane. And they were like, yeah, I remember this. And it was just like the same thing. massive, ridiculous, unbelievable, you know. And part of me is like, well, it's probably some exotic tech that we've got. But then I'm like, but what about all the running around? What about the hand? What about, you know, like there's so many things.
Things like that.
Mm.
You know yourself, if you're near and you think, oh, what touched me on the back then? And you turn around, there's no there.
Yeah, but that was the point where everything was like, this is real, this is danger, this is, and my body just was like, out of there.
Was there any, did you listen to any news after the next day? Anything? Anybody else had seen anything?
No, we did go down to the village and we asked a few people, like in the pub and in the shop, and they just looked at us like we've gone out, and somebody told us where you could pick magic mushrooms.
Oh my God.
But I was like, it's February, you don't get them till like September. Idiot.
Yeah.
It's just annoying, isn't it? Like, and we were like, well,
1997 then.
It was, yeah. Yeah, it's nearly 30 years.
I'm going to say time passes on quickly, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep.
Did that get involved more and more into UFOs?
Well, I didn't really talk about it for about 8 years. And then when I came online, when I got my leg was broken and I couldn't work because I was a chef. So I got a computer and I thought, what do I do now? I've got a computer. After setting up my email, I started looking at UFO stuff and I found this forum and I joined a forum and I was just chatting everybody's heads off. And it turns out, this is weird as well, it was called UFO Magazine and the Weird Wide Web. It was nothing to do with UFO Magazine, Graham Birdsall and Russ Callahan. But so I ended up being like a moderator on there and then admin. And it turned out that out of the entire internet, that the people who ran the forum lived 3 streets away and their daughter was in my son's class.
How strange is that?
It's just things got weirder and weirder and weirder from there on in,
It sounded like it as well.
I don't know. Life is so bizarre. That's why I think, it's just some sort of fancy GTA game.
But when you're looking at objects like that, what's so big,
I know.
Could you hear anything as well?
No, it was completely silent. Not even a word. Nothing. No, nothing. Absolute silence. Yep. Total silence. And no, like, vacuum. There was no vacuum of sound or anything, we could still hear the sheep and what have you. So
what about the small sphere then?
Well, we just put that out of mind, but I think obviously, whatever was running around had come out of that. I can
imagine. Did everybody describe the same thing?
Yeah.
Did everybody say that's how big I think it was, or did anybody say, oh no, it was smaller?
No. In fact, I'd reduced everything down in my mind, and I was trying to erase it. Actually, didn't want to think about it. So there was just the lights would not leave my head at all, not for a minute. They were just all day, every day. It hollowed me out. It's it's really polarizing when you see something like that. It's believing in UFOs or seeing a UFO that's really tiny and far away and non-threatening, and then seeing something like that, it just completely changes your life. Takes away a lot that you think you knew and replaces it with absolutely nothing. Then you come to ufology and you get stuffed full of rubbish, and then you have to pull it all out again and go back to what you know is true to the event, and then
what about being abducted and things like that in your life? Have you ever
my abductions?
Yeah.
I've had a few.
And because when you talk to people, you say, "Oh, I could have been abducted." They look at you strange. Some people do, but they don't.
Not so much now. I think people are way more open to it now. Way more than they were 20 years ago.
Over the years, I think things have changed a little bit more. and I think people are willing to talk about it now and wouldn't do years ago.
Yeah. I think social media's got a lot to do with that, and people finding each other and getting braver and then just not caring anymore what people think. You know, like I really used to want to be believed, and it was really important to me that I was taken seriously. And I'm just like, if you don't believe me, I get it. It's a lot to ask somebody to believe that.
You must have
Just don't call me
investigated.
a liar, you know what I mean? It's just
Oh God,
I
yeah,
find it hard to
no.
believe that that's acceptable, but don't call me a liar. There was a group of us. I wish it was just me, because I could have relegated it to psychosis or something. You know, I could have decided I'm schizophrenic and that sometimes I have hallucinations, but unfortunately, that is not the case. Whatever it was actual. And I couldn't tell anyone the nature of it. And I have no idea what was running around because I didn't see it. So, you know, that can go against me. But at the same time, I don't care. I get it. If people don't believe me, I get it. But that's
I
it.
mean,
It's just,
I know probably over the years you've investigated lots of cases. What's the most intriguing one you've ever come across?
uh, I don't know, because there's just so many question marks over all of them now, isn't there? But I think Phil Kinsella, Phil and Ronnie, their stuff.
Oh
And there's
yeah,
a few people in America, you know, like Deb, what was it? Kathy, what was her name? In Bud Hopkins' book.
oh yes, I know what you mean. Yes,
Yeah, Deb White Corbell, her, absolutely adore that woman. And the Anne Andrews and Jason Andrews. I got to know them. I had experiences at their house. They are completely legit. Completely legit.
you know, there's many times where you think you're in bed and the next minute you're floating. Has that ever happened to you then?
No, not floating, but I have been up and about in my experiences. You know, standing up or in like a dentist chair or lying on some sort of trolley with a cloth over my face. There's lots of little tiny things. It's almost like I come around, realize what's going on, and just check out. I can absolutely just check out now. Even when I used to have like paranormal experiences when I was a little kid in my bedroom, you know, something weird going on, I
Yeah,
just switch off. So
guess
I
it's
just wasn't there, just check out.
yeah. I know you've had loads over your period of your life, being a kid and stuff like that.
Yeah, more
You never-
paranormal, but not really alien. Even though when I was a teenager, I drew an ET, and I had a lot of emotion around it when I was drawing it, and I used to be able to remember what this thing looked like. But then all I can remember now is the drawing that I did. It's like
Do you think
over
it's
the
wiped?
top.
Do you think
Yeah,
it wipes
yeah.
you off completely?
Then and you know, one of the things that has really put me off ufology as well was I was telling someone I was going to do these video diaries of abductees, and
Yeah,
then immediately I'd ask someone, "Do you want to come? You know, can I interview you as part of it?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, sound." And then the next thing you know, I'm invited onto this show, and then somebody else has stolen that idea, but they put me on as the first guest. And then it's just cheek of them. And then there's this guy sat there, yeah, and I'm talking about one of my experiences where I was like forehead to forehead with a grey, and my eyes were pulled up. I had no choice in where I was looking, and my eyes were pulled up so hard it was hurting the muscles in my eyes, and I was looking directly into the eyes of this grey,
yeah.
and each had a white pin dot of light, right? Of white, sorry, not and you know, his forehead was warm, so there's warmth to them, and there was absolutely no reflection in these black plastic eyes, no reflection. And then when I was taken in 2012, and there was a grey in my room, and I was looking at it thinking, this is actually ridiculous. It had a silver suit on and a helmet, so I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. No, like the thoughts that go through your head are weird.
Yeah, of course it would be.
Nobody's going to believe this. This is just insane. And it just looked at me like that. And then I got all this information. And
Was it downloading information to you then?
Yeah, but it wasn't words. It was like
thoughts.
It was like something landed in my head. Basically, it was like it wasn't an actual bump, but it felt. I felt it, and then it was like warm liquid. That's all I can describe it as. And then it was like remembering something that you'd forgotten. So it wasn't like, it was just like images swimming in, and it was like all these things that were showing me how the innards work, what's going on inside them, why they wear the suit, what the suit does, what their eyes do. Even though my friend Paula's got more information on the different light frequencies that they're seeing switch to. So the black is absorbing all the light and sorting the light, but when they want to scatter the light, their eyes go white. So this little pin of light was, you know the neuralizer in Men in Black when they flash. Oof. It was like that, except it wasn't a light in front of me. It was like behind my eyes. So it started here and it went poof, white out, and then obviously that was the end of it, and I was back at home. But the other experience that I was talking about with the grey in my bedroom, because I was somewhere else in that experience, it told me a lot about all this stuff. So, they get their energy from light, and this suit scatters light on a photon level. They can manipulate the light around them, so you'll never see them. If they don't want you to see them, you'll never see them. So I was telling them about their eyes, and he was like angry with me. There was anger on that man's face, and he couldn't stand what I was saying. I was like, what is wrong with you? This is my experience of it. Why are you getting mad? Does it not don't roll with what you think you know? And I was just like, you disgust me. You actually disgust me. I'm telling you, first-hand experience, and you're more bothered about how that doesn't gel with either whatever he's experienced or what he thinks he knows. Yeah. Telling me, oh, you were abducted because your dad was in the military. Whose dad? Who hasn't got military in the family in England at my age? Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody went to war 25 years before I was born. And to put that into perspective, that was in the 1990s. So it's not that long ago, right?
No.
That was the same for when I was born. There were hardly any fellas around. They'd all been done away with in the war. There was a lot of widows. I remember this as a kid. There was a lot of old ladies who lived alone. And, literally nearly everybody had somebody in the great-granddad, at least, But I've had my great-granddad, my granddad, my dad, right? So, my granddad was MOD, the sergeant in the MOD. So, of course, that's what it's all about. It's all because of that. It's all because of... Well, so why wasn't he going on my whole childhood then? Why was it? Why did it all start later in my life? Unless I wasn't remembering things. Because I do remember seeing something in the sky when I was little, but it looked like an acorn just hanging in the sky. So maybe stuff was going on and I just don't know. But, that's just a very sweeping, broad claim that's not necessarily true. And you're not writing my life out. All these people, all they want to do is change the way that I see my experiences and my life. They don't want to accept my experiences and my life. No, they want to rewrite it for me. All of them, nearly everybody. It's just, I can't be asked. I swear, I just cannot be asked with it anymore. It's like, do you want to listen? No. And when I was doing that group, the first time I ever spoke about my experiences, and it's the first time I talked about it in there. The group had been going for nearly a year.
Yeah.
So that's how I knew they weren't interested in me at all.
I remember.
Yeah. So I did end up talking about it, and I got part way in, and this guy interrupted me and he went, well, they say, I'm they. You're interrupting me to tell me
No.
what we as experiencers say. are you all right in your head? I just looked at my mate Jim and he was like, what?
Why?
You know, absolutely ridiculous. So it's like, all right, you don't have to listen to me, but don't ask me and then I'll start talking. Just interrupt me to tell me what the general hubbub of ufology say or whatever. Because yeah, I know, mate. I know I've been in ufology now for 20 years. Like, and this guy was probably about 24. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a question here from for you. Anyone in your close family have experienced anything like this? Just thinking about your family's go girl.
Yeah, they have. My mum, loads of weird experiences.
What, growing up?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I remember she used to tell me, I can't really remember them all now, but there was often stuff going on and things moving around the house. But my gran said she'd seen a cigar-shaped UFO over Kirkstall Road in Leeds in the 70s. And then my mum, what did she say? Oh no, the first time I ever saw a UFO was with my mum. And then we were out in Garthorpe, which is like, you know, like in North Yorkshire, kind of between Goole and Scunthorpe. So I lived there. I lived in the house called the Triangle.
Oh my God!
It's still there. It's still called the Triangle, West End, Garthorpe. You look it up. That's where I lived as a kid. And we were bringing the washing in. It was summer, and we were bringing the washing in, and it was, you know, it got dark, and we had like Viking radio on. And my mum was like, "Oh, look at that!" And there was this light just going. Wee, woo, 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 woo. And there was loads of people calling Viking radio and saying they were seeing it, and so loads of people saw it.
What year was that then?
Maybe about 83. Maybe, yeah, 83, 84 maybe. But I saw 3 crop circles there as well. I went there a few years ago. Well, actually more than a few years ago. Probably about 10 years ago. And I went past the house. I wanted to take photos of it, but I've forgotten how narrow all the road was, and then there was cars parked. It was all a bit weird. And there's whoever lived in the house was stood in the doorway, and they were just like looking at me, like, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "Oh, bye!" And I'd been up to the top of the street to see where the circles were because I was going to take photographs. And like, you know, like
some crop circles as well at top of road.
Yeah. That was about 1982, and anyway, it was just all concrete. It had been turned into it used to be a field, but it was like a car park. The farm had really, you know, developed. It used to be like one old guy and his wife and his farm hands, obviously. But now there was like all these vans with all the logo on the side. So I didn't take any photos because I just didn't want to look like a weirdo. I just pretended that I took a wrong turn and, you know, got out of there. Like, so yeah, like it's just, but mostly I've had paranormal stuff, ghosts, weird things, stuff moving, orbs.
Why do you think it happens to you? It's like,
well,
there's many people you can say, look at that over there, and they go, where? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's you.
Well, when I was 4, I took an entire bottle of my mum's sleeping tablets. They'd only just gone out. My uncle was babysitting. I was just rummaging up because I was sleeping in their room for whatever reason. I don't know if he was sleeping in my bed or something.
Right.
And so I constructed this thing to get up onto the top of the cupboard because I saw this bottle up there and it was well out of the way. But I got my mum's stool and put it on the bedside table, got on the bed, got on the thing, got the tablets, my tongue started burning. So I put the bottle back, got back into bed, and then woke up whenever, I don't even know how long, but I'd been in a coma, almost died. So I don't know if that opened some doors.
Yeah, strange that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The Simon Riley in chat room said, been to a
Oh,
lot
Simon, hello.
ufology conferences. Sacha's first talk on the stage is still one of the best.
I was drunk. What are you on about? I was so nervous. I was like banging back the Chardonnay. I forgot a big chunk. I got over. Russ Callahan had to come up and rescue me. I was all over at shop. But I'm glad I went because like I've just met so many people. It really helped me. Like at the time I didn't realise how much I needed to be around people who had this stuff going on. It was very exciting for me. I loved it. I ended up believing a right load of old tosh, but I defragged myself of all that.
Yes, I know.
I had some, I had a whole belief system built out of it, and now I'm like, there's nothing to do with spirituality. It's nothing to do with anything. It's like building a religion around your dentist. You know what I mean? For me, anyway, because of all the stuff they've done to me. Like, it was like,
Simon Riley's just put weirdos like me.
Yeah, Simon's a good mate. I like Simon. He's a good man. And his missus is ace as well. And I've got to come and see you again, Simon.
Yeah. So the paranormal, it seems to have stuck with you.
Yeah, people say to me, how did you get into the paranormal? I'm like, I didn't, it got into me. And I've had some terrible experience. I had a really mad run of things. Like, I went to see a friend and he wasn't, I'd had a dream, right? I had a friend who was suicidal.
Right.
Like his whole life, he had suicidal tendencies and ideation. And I'd had this dream that I'd gone round to his flat, and as I opened the door, I got smacked in the face by a wall of big flies, right? And I jumped out of bed, and I got dressed, and I literally just ran out of the house, ran to his house, banging on the door, no answer. So I went back to my house, and then we had these little postcards that you could get in bars. We were in bars drinking and getting off our heads a lot because we were all absolutely mental. I was running away from everything, like my feelings, my contents of my head, my life. So anyway, I got this postcard and it had this bloke, and it was like, so I went around and wrote on it, "Do you look like this? If you do, come see me." Blah, 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 like, and I posted it through the door and knocked again. Nothing. And then about an hour later, he turned up at the door. So I was like, "Thank God." Then so I told him about my dream. And I'd had this thing where my stereo kept coming on in the middle of the night. The stereos that are like tuned to a station. So if the power comes on, it'd just start playing the radio station, right? Well, it wasn't. It was like, "Wah!" Like mad static, really loud. I come barreling downstairs with a wine bottle in my hand, right, ready to smash over somebody's head. Booted the door open. I'd decided, because I lived alone, if anything like this ever happened, I'm coming downstairs, I'm going to sound like 10 men. I'm going to boot the door open. I am not waiting upstairs, terrified, waiting for somebody to come and find me. You know what I mean? I'm going to try and scare them off. And so I did that, butt naked, bright red hair, all stuck up all over the place with my wine bottle like this. Nothing there. So I turned it off, and I'm telling him about it. When he come round another day, and it did it again while I was telling him. And then I was at the pub. We had pagers back in the day. We didn't have phones. So I got this thing, "Can you come see me?" So, because I was in the pub, I got a pint, I hid it under my thing, and I just walked round the corner to where he lived, thinking I was going to give him a pint and cheer him up. And he met us at the door. We went upstairs, and he'd written "Dead Man Walking" in blue hair dye with his fingers on his on his door. And when I went in, everything was smashed. And there was a big hole in the ceiling, like he'd been trying to smash through the roof. And there was a circle of candles, tea lights on the floor that had been lit. And, it was bad. It was really bad. And I think he'd taken an overdose. We got him to hospital, all that stuff, And then he straightened out again. He was okay, little, just in and out of this. And then he had a gas check. The fellas come round to do a gas check on your cooker and your boiler and your gas fire.
Yeah.
So he was making them a cup of tea, and he came back out of the kitchen to walk into the living room, and he heard one of them say, and I opened the door and I got smacked in the face by a wall of flies. And he said, "What did you say?" And he was like, "Oh, no, mate, no, mate." And he went, "No, tell me, what did you say?" And he said that he'd come round to do a gas check a couple of years before, and a guy was dead in his flat. He died of a heroin overdose. They didn't find him for 3 months.
Oh, God.
And when he opened the flat door, he got smacked in the face by a wall of flies. And this guy, I think, Dead Man Walking, dead man walking. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
so I think the stereo thing was this guy, and that he was like hopping between us or something. I don't know,
yeah. Must have been.
but honestly, it was that's one of the freakiest like series of events that I've ever had in my life. Really, really bad. And so I don't know. I don't even know if that poor fella's still trapped in that flat or what. But
Oh,
I
God.
really do think now that he'd taken over him, and he was trying to smash his way out in the roof because he was in the like the top flat, so
Yeah.
his roof was sloped.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And he was trying to smash his way out. Dead man walking. I'll never get over that.
I bet
Never.
you never. There's a question here from Stephen. Do you think you've had any implants or weird marks at all on your body?
Well, when I stayed at Anne Andrews in Jason Andrews' bedroom in about 2006 or 7, 16, um, I had an experience, a really wild one with reptilians. And I woke up because I felt the covers sliding off my eye. I heard it, shh, and they weren't sheets, it was a quilt, so none of that made sense. But anyway, I started to wake up. And as I started to wake up, this rubber thing came over me from this side. Boom, pinned me down, sucked all the air out of my lungs, and I started freaking out. It only like my hands were free, my legs were free, and I was kicking my legs, and I didn't feel it at the time, but I had no ligaments in my knee. I was waiting for an operation. I ruptured my knee. The next day, it was massive because I've been kicking it and freaking out. But so the next thing was I felt my skin go cold, but then I felt it steeping all the way through me until it got to my heart. Now, this all happened really quickly. I didn't really have time to think anything much because I was panicking. You don't really, when you've been suffocated, all you do is panic. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
But if I'd have had any clarity of mind, I would have thought, I've been murdered. I've come to somebody's house that I've met on the internet and now I'm dead. Right. But then the next thing, something slashed at the mouth, and I took a big in breath. Then then blank again, and then I was in like a dentist chair, and I had my left arm was stretched out. I can't even do that anymore. My shoulders just not right. But anyway, so my arm was completely stretched out, and it was on a tall, very narrow, thin, about this wide steel table with a blue cloth on it, and my arm was stretched out, and I could feel needles, little tiny needles in my fingers. And I was off my face, like whatever they'd given me, I was completely, I don't know, ketamine or something.
Yeah.
Because my arm looked like it was about 14 feet long. It was so far away.
God.
Everything was a little bit, like, and there was this machine. It was like, your gas meter. You've got the bottom half and then there's a top half. So there's a lid.
Yeah.
Right. So it was like that, but it was big and it was white and it was on a tubular steel frame. So that either side of it, it was welded to these like square tubular steel frame. And it had a window in it with a black line and it was plotting a graph. Now, my head was to this side and I couldn't move. I was just out of it. But I couldn't see this hand. And I was saying, like, help me. But my voice was very quiet. I didn't really have a voice. So I was trying to get up and I was trying to say, help me. I was, and I couldn't get it together, basically. So I thought, just concentrate on your voice because you're in a house full of people. If you shout, someone's going to hear you and they'll come and all I need is somebody to turn the light on, come in and I'll snap out of it. And I'm in some funky state. So my brain's trying to rationalize what's going on. And anyway, I stopped moving and I got it together and I shouted once, help me. And then I felt and heard movement around me. Somebody coming up the side, rustle, like cloth. Right?
Yeah.
And then I just was blacked out. Then the next thing I know, I'm stood up. There's like light panels and there's a pole. There's a little girl in front of me and she's got like blonde hair, pigtails, little dress. I don't know if she had a teddy bear on. I can't remember. She had like little flowers on her dress and then, like a blue ribbon there kind of thing. And kind of old-fashioned dress. And behind her was this big thing, huge broad shoulders, blue, pinky hue. And it was looking down. So I didn't see its face or head, but I saw the shoulders, I saw the spine, and I didn't see its backside because she was in between me and it. So she obscured its legs, whatever it was, right? So I saw her, and I just went to grab her to pull her away from it, And as I got right up to her, she grinned. And her eyes were like gold, the goldest gold you've ever seen. I've seen the pupil dilate, and it was not a slit; it was round. It was like ours.
Yeah,
the eyes were so gold. I've never seen a gold like it, and I saw it get a kick out of my reaction because I recoiled, obviously, and then took a step back, and I looked to my left, and Ellis Taylor. Do you know Ellis, don't you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Right, so he was there. He'd been abducted as well. So I looked at him, looked at her, and then the next thing I know, I'm awake and I'm in the bedroom and I hear somebody going to the toilet and I came barreling out of that room. And poor Ellis stood there in his underpants.
Oh, my God.
I don't even know what I said. I can't remember. Like, something happened last night. I went downstairs and talked about it. And he had like this burn on his chest here, like a grill burn.
Oh,
and I forgot to say the little needles, when I actually focused, there was like a little black ball of hair chewing on my fingers. But it was doing this, but the sensation was constant. And I think that graph thing was plotting a nerve. So I think it was plotting nerve function, testing nerve. Because my mum had a test and she had to go to get the nerves in her hands tested. And that's exactly what they did. She said it was all like these little tiny needles going in my fingers. I was like, right, that makes sense. So I think that was plotting a graph. And then whatever was going on here, the next day I had bruises all over. I had one there, and I had one there, one there, one there, one there, and one there, right? So they were just like 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, and then there. And this one, I could not touch it for about, I don't know, a month to 6 weeks. I can still very vaguely see the scar. It's like two tiny, tiny slits close to each other, like an equal sign. And so I don't know. I suspect something. I don't know. But
you don't.
It has sat in my head as an I don't know. But I'm never going to say definitely got something in my head because I will not. I'll obsess over it. So I like to hide behind I don't know with a lot of stuff.
Some people get implants put in, and but they think they are, and then they touch things, and you can feel things under your skin.
I felt something under my toe once. It felt like half a matchstick. You know that bit of your toe, and you've got the bit there.
Yeah.
It was right there, and I used to pick at my feet quite a lot, with all my anxiety and stuff. So I was just
could you feel the end of it?
I could feel it end to end, and I got hold of it, and I gripped it like that, and I was like, "What's that?" And I thought, "Oh, maybe some weird, I don't know, biological event." But obviously, years later, I'm like, It was about that long and about that thin. So that was about That was like 1994.
And has it gone since?
Oh yeah, like I went to mess about with it the next day and it had gone. But the house that I lived in, I had so many paranormal experiences in that house. It literally tortured me. I ran away. I went back there one day to get some stuff, and something was in there. The entire bedroom was just upended, like something had come through the floor and thrown everything up in the air, and like back down again. And the door would never shut properly. It was so loose. and I felt like something was running up behind me, and I legged it down the stairs, and I'm trying to get out, and the door got stuck. That door never got stuck. It
No.
was a pain in the ass. I was pulling on it. It was like, like in a horror film. I don't even know if I shut it behind me. When I got it open, I just ran, and I think I left the door wide open, and got in the car, and I just legged it. Gone. See ya.
And you lived it. How long did you live in that house for then?
About 18 months.
Oh my God, it must have been hell.
Yeah.
You can understand when people say, I've got something in my house. What do I do? And there must be loads of people in that situation, but they'll say, who do I go to help me?
And most of the time, you got somebody to help you. They've got, I want to put it on our channel, want to video it, want to,
Oh God, yeah.
You know what I mean? They can't do anything just for doing it to help.
And it's true that it's absolutely true that
Mhm.
what you're saying there. They want limelight. They want to go in there. Can we do this and can we do that? Instead of the issue is trying to get rid of it completely.
To help somebody.
Yeah. And it needs it
Yeah.
sometimes.
So I lived in a house in 2012 that was desperately haunted. It was so bad, but I think I had a few things traveling around with me as well.
You think so?
Like hitchhikers, and
Oh.
so I moved into this. It just was insane, absolutely insane. I ran away from that as well. Shaking beds, God knows what, a cough right behind my head, waking up covered in bruises. Weird, really weird.
Nightmare.
Yeah, Erin running, thinking the kids are out of bed, running upstairs to catch them out, and they're fast asleep. Zonked. So many things. And my son, I heard him whimpering one night, so I went and got into bed with him, and I'm laid there. And then the bed shook from side to side. It went like that.
Oh my God.
And so whatever it was, and do you know what? Sometimes I think that was a family member because there was something bad in that bedroom, and it was like, get out.
So
get out now.
The fewer it's like the hitchhiker effect with you in some places. It's followed you.
Yeah, not anymore. But yeah, because I attract it. I think I probably had a freaking entourage of God knows what, until I woke up to it. Because they'd be like, oh, why do I always end up in a haunted house? It wasn't like that when I moved in. Oh,
exactly. How many years was that happening to you then in overall?
All my life, all the time, even still now I have weird stuff. I can hear bangs but I make stuff like this.
I know you do now. I know.
So I get all these old dolls. I've got dolls that are like hundreds of years old, and well, not hundreds. I've got one that's 100 years old. That's my oldest one. So I don't know, probably a few things.
But you love making them, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you get lots of people want to buy them then?
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
But I just couldn't be bothered making them for a while. Like I don't know. I've been through some stuff. I had therapy, see, about 18 months ago.
Right.
And I saw my life. I saw my life for the first time with clarity, and it was a bit of a shock. Yes. But I had to sift through a lot, and obviously talking about stuff, you go through it again, don't you? But then, being my age, my grand age now, and then looking at stuff that was going on when I was a kid, and you're just like, no, that should not have been happening. Everything was wrong. Everything was not good, and I've kind of, especially after the stuff with Larry and all that, and realizing that I decided to believe things rather than coming to conclusions of things through blah, So I had to take a long, hard look at myself and everything that I believed and everyone who I believed. There's a lot of shifting and
where you've got true friends.
Yeah.
We can.
But I had a lot of people who just use me. They say that they're interested in me and my stuff, and then you get together, do something, and they're not interested at all. They want access to what I've got access to. They want access to who I've got access to, actually.
Yes.
Or some people see me as like a figure. I find that hard to do, but I know other people do, so they'll see, oh, we'll get her involved because it sounds really egotistical, but I know that people have had me do stuff just because, or they've kind of zoned in on me because I've been active on the scene, but like speaking, doing the radio shows, writing for magazines, the whole lot. Like,
yeah, you are.
So there's like Stan Romanek. I caught him out in lies. I've got evidence that I've never shown that Audrey the alien is a complete fake setup. I've got the audio recording of Audrey the alien talking to me, trying to convince me to set up a conference over here for his lordship to come over and just walk in and like, oh, hello, I'm all fabulous and everything. I caught him out completely. Liar. And, I've just not been asked about dealing with the backlash that you get from bringing truth to the scene. We want authenticity. No, you don't.
Hey, people don't like it.
No. So yeah, I've got that.
But it's good. But you're a very good investigator.
Thank you.
You're good at what you do. We're proud of you. What you've done in the past.
Thanks.
Larry Warren and all that bloody palaver.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad. That changed me for the better in the end. But
yes, it did.
That was tough.
You went through a hell of a lot then.
It was just horrendous. Actually, I think I nearly died. Honestly, I think I nearly died.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you've come on today and done your first broadcast for a long time.
A long time, yeah. Mm.
There'll be people, I know David Young and all that, had said, oh my God, just come on the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's good, but people do miss you.
I know, and I miss them as well. I just don't miss Facebook. I come on there and I turn into an arsehole immediately. I see the crap AI, I see the crap people are talking about. That, oh my God, I can't cope with it. It instantly, my nervous system just...
Yeah, I know, it does. I know.
But I'll probably get over it, but I'm liking what I'm doing now. I'm liking it. I'm not talking about anything to do with any of this.
No.
I'm talking shit about people. Sorry for swearing. But the bad actors on TikTok, and then I ended up investigating TikTok itself, finding all kinds of stuff out about it, about how it operates, political stuff around it. It's actually mental. And then, I've put all these documents together to sort of inform people. I thought, I don't even know what I've got here, so I put it all in a PDF, and I'm like, oh, oops, I've written a book.
What are you doing right? So
it's about social media harms, about how harmful social media is.
When's your book?
Don't know, because it's not finished. I've still got a lot of stuff that I'm doing. It doesn't pay it never paid any tax. 33 billion profit they make from UK TikTok and never paid a penny tax. That outrages me. The thing that's really, really what it's about is the fact that there are no laws written for the safety of people on social media or on the internet whatsoever. Not a single one. Ofcom do not take complaints from the public. It has to be an organisation. So I'm like, okay, which organisation do I go to so that they can go to Ofcom about this? There isn't one that I can go to. I'm like, what? There's nowhere, there's nothing. All the laws that exist were written decades before the internet existed. And the Online Safety Act that's coming now isn't worth anything. All it's done is given Ofcom powers to fine people. Oh, wow. Brilliant. That'll change things. I've got 33 billion profit. Well, we're gonna fine you $1 million.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. Not $1 million out of my 33 billion. You know what I mean? So it's outrageous. So I've been right into my MP. I think that this needs to be treated as an online space, like a space, an arena. in the same way that the metaverse is a real place, because HMRC tax everything that goes on in there. So if that's real, this is real. Therefore, public order laws and other laws that are not written for the internet can also be stretched to tackle harmful live streams, you know. So anyway, that's my mission now, change the law.
Well, good for you. And Simon just said, don't forget to phone me once this year. I bet you know where you're coming from, don't you?
Yeah, hey, listen. Phone calls go two ways, you know, mate.
Yes. I know, I've had that as well. I've had that in the past when I was really badly with me operations. This guy kept saying, why don't you ring me? I said, I'm on my own. You've got a wife and kids.
Yeah.
Never mind. Anyway, lovely. Hey, it's been lovely talking to you.
Yeah. I've missed you. I've missed Paul as well. I've got to get in touch with Paul. I've not spoken to him for it.
I know. Yeah, please ring him, because I'm sure he'll enjoy a phone call, and I'll ask Paul to ring you as well.
Yeah. Well, me and Lisa Walker, hi Lisa. Yeah, we're little goblin besties. So I'm trying to get her over here this summer, but I might end up going over there as well. So if I don't go over to Lisa's, we'll come out.
Your friend in Brid?
Yeah, she lives she like Malton. It's not far, not that far.
It's not far away, Malton.
Yeah, so
that'd be great.
Yeah.
So thank you again for coming on the show. It's been lovely.
Oh, thanks for asking me. Yeah.
I've been thinking about you, and you've been thinking about me.
I know, that was mad, that wasn't it? Yeah.
That was meant to be.
You just won't get out of my head. I was like, I'm going to message him, say hello.
Believe it or not, it used to happen with Derek Savory.
Oh, yeah.
I used to ring him. He used to say, I'm glad you've rang, Bob. I'm not very well.
Oh.
You know this. And you know, he's passed away now, as Derek, like,
yeah.
Just a shame, like, with Derek, like, but he was a true friend, and he used to say to me, you know when I need help. So
yeah,
you know, it's one of those things in life. Anyway, you take care.
You too, love. Been great talking to you.
In touch with that now.
Yeah.
I'll
I'll try to be more present as well, and like get on Facebook a little bit here and there, more than I do. But I honestly, the whole place just, I don't know if it needs burning down or what, but all that AI garbage needs to go.
Just keeping off it for the time being until you feel as though when you want to come back.
I think everything happened on Facebook, you know, like all of it, all of the usury, the stealing my stuff, the trolling. So when I come on there, I think that's what it is. So I need to work through that, don't I? Because I really miss everyone. You know, I don't miss ufology, but I miss my friends.
Yeah, exactly. You miss everybody who you used to meet up with.
Yeah. Conferences and stuff like that. You know, I think next year I'll get my act together and, like, you know, go to one of them at least. But yeah, I just needed to not be part of it, because just got a bit on top, you know.